The envelope arrived on a Wednesday. I found it tucked under my windshield wiper after work, a plain white envelope with my name, Ethan Carter, written in block letters. No return address. No indication of who sent it. At first, I thought it was some kind of joke, maybe a flyer or a scam. But when I opened it, a single note fell into my lap. Your wife is cheating on you. Watch her on Thursday at 3 p.m. at Grayson's Coffee House. My heart slammed against my ribs. I read the words again, trying to process them. My wife? Emma? No, that was impossible. We'd been married for 7 years, and sure, things hadn't been perfect lately. But cheating? No way. I crumpled the note and threw it in the glove compartment, shaking my head. I wasn't going to let some anonymous coward plant doubts in my head. I trusted my wife. Didn't I? Thursday afternoon, I sat in my car across the street from Grayson's Coffee House. I told myself I wasn't really here because of that note. I was just curious, just checking. But deep down, something in me was already unraveling. At exactly 3:07 p.m., Emma arrived. She parked 2 blocks away, stepping out in a dress I hadn't seen before, black, tied at the waist. She checked her reflection in her car window, running a hand through her hair. A minute later, a man joined her. Tall, fit, with a sharp jawline and the kind of confident walk that made me instantly hate him. He leaned in close as they walked into the coffee house together. My stomach twisted into knots. I wanted to believe it was innocent, that this was just a friend. But the way Emma laughed, the way she leaned into him, touching his arm like a reflex, it wasn't innocent. It was intimate. I clenched my fists. I could have stormed in right then, caused a scene. But that wasn't enough. I wanted more than a scandal. I wanted revenge. And it had to be something the whole city would remember. Over the next 2 weeks, I played the part of the clueless husband. I kissed Emma goodbye in the mornings, listened to her tell me she was meeting the girls for dinner, while I followed her car instead. She wasn't meeting any girls. She was meeting him. Sometimes at that coffee house. Sometimes at a motel off the highway. Every time, I felt something inside me snap. She had no idea I was watching. No idea I was documenting everything. I started taking photos. At first, just grainy shots of them talking, holding hands. But I needed something better. Something that would humiliate them beyond repair. Then, I saw them at the park. Sitting on a bench near the lake, locked in an embrace, her head on his shoulder. I pulled out my camera, zoomed in, and took the perfect shot. A clear, wide photo of 2 lovers sitting together, arms wrapped around each other, faces hidden, but unmistakable to anyone who knew them. I took 10 different angles. Then, I started planning the ultimate revenge. The first billboard went up on a Monday morning. By noon, it was all over town. The image was impossible to ignore, a giant photo of Emma and her lover from behind, sitting together at the park, his arm draped over her shoulder. The words printed above them? A place for people who cheat. By 3 p.m., there were 9 more billboards in key spots across town, downtown, near her workplace, by the supermarket she visited every weekend. Emma had no idea, but everyone else did. At 5:45 p.m., she walked into her house, her face flushed, her phone blowing up with messages. She slammed the door shut, eyes wide. Ethan, what the hell did you do? I leaned back on the couch, sipping my whiskey, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. I smiled. Oh, Emma, I said, tilting my head. You should know. I'm just getting started. Emma stood frozen in the doorway, her breathing ragged, fingers clutching her phone like it was the only thing keeping her upright. Her lips moved, but no words came out. She had seen the billboards. She had seen herself on display for the entire city. I watched as her mind tried to piece everything together, as her brain struggled to process the scale of what I had done. What the hell did you do? She finally choked out, her voice shaking. I took a slow sip of my whiskey, savoring the moment. I gave you exactly what you deserved. Her face turned red. You put up billboards? I nodded. 10 of them, actually. Nice touch, don't you think? She stumbled forward, shoving her phone in my face. The screen was filled with texts, notifications, missed calls. Friends. Coworkers. Her boss. Her hands were trembling. Do you have any idea what you've done? She shrieked. I leaned back. Yeah, Emma. I do. Her face twisted with fury. You ruined my life. I let out a cold laugh. No, sweetheart. You ruined your life. I just made sure everyone else saw it. She was gasping now, panicked. My job. Your boss called, huh? I mused, tilting my head. Can't imagine it looks good to have a confirmed cheater handling corporate accounts. Her breath hitched. Ethan, you don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. I stood up, stepping closer. I understand that for 6 months, you lied to me. I understand that you thought you could sneak around behind my back and get away with it. Her eyes were wild. I was going to end it. I swear, I was going to break it off. I scoffed. Oh, before or after the next motel visit? She flinched. That's right. She knew I had followed her. I watched her sink onto the couch, her head in her hands. How could you do this to me? She whispered. I crouched down in front of her, my voice ice cold. The real question is, how could you do this to me? She didn't answer. She had nothing to say, because she knew she had lost. By the next morning, Emma's world was in shambles. She had been fired. Her boss had called and told her it was best for the company if she stepped away indefinitely. Her so-called friends? Gone. No one wanted to be associated with the woman on the billboards. And her lover? Well, Jason had problems of his own, because I made sure his wife knew. Oh, did I forget to mention that part? Yeah, Jason wasn't just some single guy. He was married with 2 kids. I had sent his wife a folder of photos, emails, text messages. I heard she threw him out of the house that night. Good. They deserved each other. Emma came home later that evening, completely broken. She looked at me, eyes hollow. I have nowhere to go. I nodded. I know. She swallowed. Can we just talk? I exhaled slowly. Sure. For a long moment, she didn't say anything. Then, in a barely there whisper, do you still love me? I stared at her, feeling nothing. Once, I would have done anything for this woman. Now, I didn't even recognize her. No, I said. I don't. She shuddered. Her lip trembled. Then, quietly, what do I do now? I took a deep breath, grabbed my jacket, and walked out the door. I didn't look back. Not once. Because Emma wasn't my problem anymore. She had made her choice. And now, she was living with it. Thank you for listening to the story to the end. Please like, share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel.